Football fans, we just had an incredible weekend. It's football every single day. It felt like I couldn't get enough of it. Thanksgiving, we were feasting on the food and we were feasting on the gridiron. We couldn't get enough of football this week. Welcome to Play Action Takes, HOPELine Media's NFL podcast brought to you by Zing Zang, America's number one Bloody Mary mix. It's America's number one Bloody Mary mix for a reason. Go get it today. Zang responsibly all season long. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL when you sign up using our promo code PATNFL. You can play your first $5 and get $100 in bonus entries using our promo code. I'm your host of Play Action Takes, HOPELine Media's NFL podcast, Stone Strankman, joined always by Kush Patel. How we doing, brother?
Man, we're doing great. What a great slate of Thursday games, and then we got the one Friday game. Then we got the Sundays. It was a crazy couple days.
It was a great Thursday of football. Tremendous. Like Packers Lions was always going to be a decent game, if not a great game, and they kind of it was a interesting one. I wouldn't want to call that a great game, but it wasn't a bad game at all. Like it was a good game, and we've had some bad Lions games on Thanksgiving for the majority of our lives. So
Yeah,
we'll take a decent Lions game from them. The Cowboys game was tremendous. Had a great time with that one. And then the late game, Bengals Ravens, we were like, let's see what happens here. And we kind of saw a beatdown, but it was Joe Burrow. It was Thanksgiving. Everybody's chowing down on the turkey legs. He got the celebration with Jake Ferguson just taking a full fist of turkey into the locker room for the Cowboys. Like that's what Thanksgiving's all about. It's just football and turkey, baby. I couldn't get enough of it.
yeah, yeah. This is the first Thanksgiving I can remember where like all three games were like super interesting games, super like meaningful games, and super like exciting games.
Yeah, at least entertaining because like that last game wasn't a good game, but Joe Burrow came back, and the Ravens are fighting for a playoff spot. I know they started off horribly, all the injuries and all that kind of stuff, and it was a big hill to climb out of. And yeah, you had Joe Burrow come back, you had Jamar Chase, you had everybody kind of just talking shit all day long, which I thought was a lot of fun. Just a tremendous week of football. But we're going to start it off with Ravens, Chiefs, and Steelers. We're in uh-oh zone for all three of those teams. I know the Steelers can technically still win the division. The Chiefs and the Ravens they're in uh-oh zone. This is full on panic mode. We only have 5 games left. We're in panic mode for these 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, in September by week 13, week 14, whatever it is, that the Chiefs and the Ravens will be in trouble, I would, I'd look at you like you're crazy, But that's where we're at right now, and um, the Broncos are the number one seed right now. Who saw that coming? And then the Chiefs are in must-win territory. They have to. I don't. Maybe do they have to win out?
Um, Historically, kind of. No, they can lose one more, but it would behoove them to not lose one
Yeah,
more because then you're looking at tiebreaker scenarios. Because like if the Texans and the Dolphins and all these other teams that are just kind of hanging around, like you got the Chiefs at 6-6, the Bengals are 4-8. So like if they win out and they go 9-8, that makes even more pressure on everyone to win 10 games. The Ravens are 6-6. The Dolphins are 5-7 now. They have to win out. The Jags are 8-4, so like they could fall off. The Texans are 7-5. The Colts are 8-4 now. It's just it's insane. Like every team, the Steelers are 6-6, the Bills are 8-4, the Broncos are 10-2. Like the Chargers are 8-4. Everyone kind of just needs to win as many games as possible just to get out of the scary zone. And a lot of teams are just going to be in the scary zone. Like our teams are in the hunt right now, and we're 2 games off of each other. But y'all could still win the division at this point. You're only a game and a half back of those 2 teams. Like the Texans could still win the divisions. The Dolphins could somehow leapfrog the Bills. If the Bills just have a shit end of the season and the Dolphins win out, they could somehow be the 2 seed in the division and make the playoffs, and the Bills would miss it. I don't know what's going on. It's pure chaos. And the Broncos, we're going to get to them in a minute. We're going to talk about those Broncos.
yeah. This is we'll talk about the NFC a little bit later. And the NFC is crazy, but the AFC is just a bloodbath, man. Who like who is the best team? We don't know. And then all these teams that we thought were going to be really good are they're kind of fighting for their playoff lives right now.
Yeah, I don't remember who said it in our Discord channel of the NFL one. That the I think it might have been Josh. He said the Patriots going to be the 13 win number one seed and first round exit right after when after they get their bye, they're just going to lose in the divisional round. Like, seems like the easiest thing of all time. Like the Broncos last night watched that a lot of that game after zero gravity. We were done recording, and I was able to watch a lot of that fourth quarter and overtime, and it's they're in this dogfight every week, and the Patriots are in dogfights every week, and they're not having to play a lot of hard teams. Like they've beaten the good teams when they played against them, sure. The Colts, same thing, not playing a lot of good teams. We're 8-2 to start. Now they're 8-4. The Jags are 8-4. Like there's not a. I don't know if there is a good team in the AFC. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
There's just so many confusing things going on in the AFC, and like the Chiefs and the Ravens are just add to that. And I know the Ravens have been missing guys all year. Lamar Jackson comes
Yeah,
back, wins a couple games, and they lose on Thanksgiving to the Joe Burrow return Cincinnati Bengals. So we don't know about them. And then as far as the Chiefs, like they've been up and down all year, missing guys sometimes, not playing as well as we're accustomed to them playing. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs look beatable right now.
yeah, and they were kind of just in that game against the Cowboys the whole time, and for some reason they just couldn't get it done. It was just unforced errors, or like they have those big gains from like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown down the field, and all of a sudden they just can't score a touchdown at the end of it, and it's kind of how that cookie crumbled on Thanksgiving. It was a good game. I had a lot of fun with it. The best part about Thanksgiving in Dallas now is like when the sunlight hits the field because it's so blinding. Like the Cowboys have to lose 7 points a game just because they can't see every single time on one side of the field. It's insane. I don't know why we can't just pull the curtains like they do for every concert and every other venue that they do there, every other event. They're just like, we like the sun for the games. It's dumb. Just turn the stadium around. Can you pick it up and turn it just 90 degrees? I don't know. It's ridiculous. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Cowboys and the Chiefs. Like, if there is anything that I took from this game, it's number one, Dak Prescott is a top five quarterback. I don't care what anybody says.
it's a dog.
You can bring up his playoff failures or whatever it is. In 2025, Dak Prescott has gone out there and shown that, despite what his situation is, with the bad defense, with the new head coach, with, you know, the guys in and out, he's been really, really good. And I'm gonna give him a lot of credit for playing how he played against the Chiefs. Number two, George Pickens is a top three receiver in this league. Not even a question, no doubt. Like this dude is amazing. He was making all kinds of plays on Thursday. And then number three, the Cowboys defense is good now.
Question mark? Yeah. Like I'm Ron Burgundy? Yeah, I don't it's a conundrum because they're getting guys back. Like Overshown's back. They bring in Quentin Williams. Obviously, it looks a little different, and the secondary is still suspect. Like I don't know what to think about the secondary, but the pass rush and the rush game has been rush defense has been a lot better, which helps. Obviously, if you can get pressure on the quarterback and kind of stop the run, helps your secondary out a lot because there's not enough time to throw, and obviously it's Patrick Mahomes. He's still going to get his, and still had a bunch of deep crossers and stuff during that game. But yeah, the defense is fine. Like it's not bad at all. Like I didn't mind it. Um, but yeah, good for the Cowboys. They're still alive. They're not. They need some things to happen. They're 6-5-1. They don't have to win out. They could lose one more, but you need some help along the way. So we'll see what happens with the Cowboys.
Yeah, and then the some takeaways I had from the Chiefs is Mahomes. I I don't want to say he's injured or he's playing hurt, but he just doesn't look the same as he has the past couple seasons. I think that's just honestly, I don't know what it is. Um,
It's
number
the
two,
throw on the
Rasheed
run,
Rice. Go
maybe.
ahead. Go ahead.
It's the throw on the run. That's what
Yeah, I
seems
think I
off.
think that's
That's
what
the
it
only thing
is.
because his
Yeah.
scrambling ability still seems fine. His pocket's fine. Like if he's in the pocket and he's able to throw the ball, it's usually pretty good. The balls that he used to be able to just like sprint to the sideline and chunk 50 yards down the field and on a dot and everything, those seem to be a little wonky right now.
Yeah, I think he's still amazing, great quarterback, but I mean, anyone with eyes can tell you this season he's dropped off just a little bit. Um, I think Rasheed Rice was good, and honestly, him coming back probably saved their season because
Yeah,
they needed receiver help bad. And then the last thing I want to say about the Chiefs is injuries have kind of not derailed them yet, but it looks like it's going to head that way. We talked about this last week. Trey Smith out for a couple games. That's one of their best offensive linemen, and it looks like this upcoming Sunday in their game against the Texans, they're going to have three backup offensive linemen out there. So, if you're a Chiefs fan, that's not what you really want to see right now, and probably the most important game of the season. Um, so yeah, I don't know about the Chiefs.
I have my thoughts about the Chiefs, but yeah, this AFC is still kind of just wide open. Anyone can still win it. Anyone can still grab like a top 3 seed. Someone can still win the division. They're probably not going to be able to win the division in the AFC West with the Broncos with their 10 wins now. But another big win on Thanksgiving weekend was a Friday, Black Friday. Got introduced to the NFL a couple of years ago. I didn't watch a single second of this game, Kush. I was dialed into the Egg Bowl. I'm a Mississippi State grad. I had to watch that. I watched my team get the shit beat out of them. And then I watched Lane Kiffin cause a fire afterwards in Oxford for the next 72 hours. So I enjoyed that portion of it. However, didn't enjoy my game. Then I got ready and I went to the Stars game that night. So I missed this game. But I saw the box score. I was watching it on Twitter. I was seeing the things. Bears 24, Eagles 15. We have a new number 1 seed in the NFC. The Chicago Bears. Who saw this one coming? Not I. Not
The
I.
Chicago Bears number. How about that? Chicago Bears number 1 seed in the
Crazy.
NFC after this game, and I watched the majority of this game, and to me, the Bears really beat the Eagles at their own game in this game. The Eagles are used to being the aggressors on offense. They're used to dominating the line of scrimmage. The Bears had a lot of rushing yards in this game, and
Mm-hmm.
we typically don't see that. And then the other thing is the offensive coordinator issues in Philadelphia, issues on the offense. The voices are getting louder, man.
It just keeps happening. If the pass game is there, the run game is not. If the run game is there, the pass game is not. A.J. Brown had 10 for 100 and something yards and 2 touchdowns, but they had less than 100 yards rushing between 2 rushers. They didn't even rush a backup running back at any moment in time. Like Saquon Barkley touched the ball over 400 times last season. Maybe give the guy a little break. Maybe put a different running back out there. Don't care who it is. Like there's always another running back in the Eagles land that just magically comes out of nowhere and has a 100-yard game. What are we doing? Just throw another guy back there and see what happens. Like I know the offensive line's not the same, but like they can't run the ball and pass the ball, and they can't pass the ball and run the ball. It's the craziest thing, and I'm just going to fade them immediately come playoff time because they can't. They can only have one or the other. They may win the game, but they're not covering. They can't do both things for whatever reason right now. And then giving up 280 yards on the ground on defense is absurd for this Eagles team that was so good last year that won the Super Bowl. And it's relatively close to the same exact team. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean they did lose some guys on defense, but I mean that is no excuse to give up that many rushing yards to the Bears.
No.
But then on the other side, I'll give the Bears credit. They really fixed that offensive line this season in the offseason. They paid a bunch of guys, and it's paying dividends. I mean, did I expect the Bears to be a great run offense like this at the beginning of the season? No, but
No, and it looked
yeah,
like DeAndre Swift
I
was in
mean,
the
I think the new
doghouse.
head coach like really came in and kind of changed things around for the Bears, and they look like one of the top teams in the NFC right now.
Yeah, and if you can't draft and develop offensive linemen, you have to overpay on the open market because they usually don't get to open market. So when they do, you have to overpay them. That's what the Bears did this offseason, and they trusted their defense and kind of what they had and doubled down on some positions. And then in the draft, they kind of just stocked up. And it looked like DeAndre Swift was in the doghouse over the last 3 weeks. And then obviously 18 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown for a 23-yard long in this game on Black Friday. It's like if you got 2 guys, Monagai and Swift, going at it, you can just run the ball all day long. That just takes off so much pressure from Caleb Williams because he didn't have like a stellar game. It was 154 yards. He was like under 50% completion percentage, only had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like, it's not a good game. The Eagles shut down that part of the game, but when you give up 281 on the ground, it's like, don't have to throw the ball. I just don't have to at this point if I'm just going to be able to run it everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about this later. The Rams did lose,
Yep.
but I'm gonna ask you this question: do we like the Bears or the Rams in a playoff scenario? Like if they were to meet in the playoffs, who do we like?
I like the Rams, and it's only a trust factor because I know the coach, I know the quarterback. I can trust those two guys more than I can trust the Bears coach and quarterback right now. They could prove me wrong. They could just say, "Hey, we're here, we're good, we're now," and I would believe it if they just beat the Rams. But yeah, I'm going to put my trust in the Rams right now. And you could ask me week 18 and I could change my answer. I don't know. But yeah, I'm still going to stick with the Rams, even though they had a blunder against the Panthers, which it seems like every good team has a blunder against the Panthers, or even like a mediocre team has a blunder against the Panthers. It's very strange. I don't know. I don't get the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are a whole nother discussion we're gonna talk about later. But
Yeah.
to me, I like the Rams, but I'm not gonna discount the Bears. You know, I've been on the
Yeah.
Bears all year long. They found ways to win games, and I think this season more than any other season in NFL history, like if you can find a way to win these one score games, then I think you're going to be there at the in January.
Yeah, I'm not going to doubt it. They're probably going to make the playoffs. They might win this division, and they might win the NFC like number one seed heading into the playoffs. I don't know. I don't hate the Bears. I like their team. I like the energy. I like that defense. I like Ben Johnson. The offense just kind of scares me because it's like DeAndre Swift he was gone for like 3 weeks, and then Caleb Williams will have a stinker game like this and they win. Can we just all put it together, just like the Eagles? Can we put it together a full game? And I'd love to see that just one time, and then I'll be fine. But you know what else I'd love to see on my phone every day, before every evening? Underdog Fantasy. Love to see it on my phone. It's NFL season. Football is in full swing right now. You got college football conference championships this weekend. You got NFL Thursday. Saturday, I believe, starts the week after this weekend for NFL. That's going to be huge. And then all day Sunday, Monday Night Football, obviously. We love football season, and we love it with Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. When you sign up, play your first $5, get $100 in bonus entries. It's where you put two stats together for two different players on two different teams minimum, and then you put those together higher or lower. So if I'm looking at it, obviously right now the Eagles offense is kind of humming on the passing game. So I'm going to hit the higher than on fantasy points for AJ Brown, and I'm going to hit the lower than on Saquon Barkley for fantasy points. And I'm going to pair that with one more pick from a different team heading into next week, and I'm going to hit higher or lower on that stat. Put that together, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash with Underdog Fantasy using all of these stats and players. It's a great way to make money during football season. Download the app today and sign up with promo code PATNFL to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code PATNFL. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit the www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPEline at 1-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. That's Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Do we want to talk Rams or Broncos first?
Let's get the controversial stuff out of the way and go Broncos.
Okay. I have a take.
Let's hear it.
The Broncos are the Chiefs of last season.
I've heard that a lot the past 24 hours.
They're 10-2. They won last night in overtime. How the hell did they win this? Did Washington go for 2? Did I fall asleep? What happened? This is ridiculous. Yeah, at the end of the day, you go to OT. You went for they went for 2. Just go for the tie, man. Screw it. I like ties. Ties in the NFL is fun. I did fall asleep. I woke up and the TV was still on. So that hand up, that's on me. The Broncos are 10-2. At the end of the day, I feel like they haven't beat a team soundly, and they lost to the Colts early in the season. I feel like they shouldn't have lost that one, 29-28. The Chargers 23-20, another close one. And then They beat the Titans 20-12 week 1, like, not a great win. The Eagles 21-17, anyone can beat them. They beat the Jets 13-11. That's like the Dolphins doing that. They had a 26-point comeback in the fourth quarter against the Giants 33-32. They beat the Cowboys pretty good. That's a good win. They beat the Texans by 3. They beat the Raiders by 3. They beat the Chiefs by 3, and then they beat the Commanders by 1. In the last just 4 weeks, they only have a plus margin of what? For 7, 10 points in 4 games, and they've won all 4 games. I don't like that one bit. 10-2, they're the Chiefs of last year. Voodoo magic is going to happen in regular season. It will come crashing down come January.
Yeah, that's quite the take. I've heard that a lot, the past couple days. Especially after last night's game is obviously just going to get louder. But it's one of these things where Denver, like the quarterback, has at times played kind of bad,
Yeah.
and at times played really good. And it just seems like during crunch time, whenever they need Bo Nix to make a play, he just makes a ridiculous play every single time. And I
Yeah.
feel like with the Chiefs last year, it was they just played bad like for a majority of the game, every single game. And something just happened where they got lucky and they won the game. I think this thing with the Broncos is a little bit different. Like they're a good team, they have great defense, but in my opinion, Bo Nix year 2, he's still kind of developing as a quarterback.
Yeah, the defense is elite. That's why they keep winning all of these games. The defense is great. They're not like the Texans defense where we've talked about that last week, but they're really good. They're top 3 in pretty much every category. They're elite. They get turnovers, they get sacks, they get a lot of sacks at that, and they can create pressure from pretty much anywhere with just 4 guys. So yeah, great defense. The offense is just very strange. Like Bo Nix, decent numbers, 321 yards and a touchdown. You're like, good. Only 1 sack, great. Always throws an interception. I can count on it. Just every time. Like if I just paired him into a Tagovailoa to throw an interception every game on Underdog, I might be a millionaire at the end of the season. I might just win all of the monies. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, this team, it's another confusing team because like I want to believe in the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, and they did beat the Chiefs earlier this season, which to me is kind of a signature win as far as like, the legacy of the Chiefs and all this stuff, but I, I think you can make a case for this. Like what I'm about to say, you can say it's about like literally every single team in the league this season that's a contender. Their offense just hasn't been impressive over the top to where I want to pick them in an important game, like down the stretch or in an important playoff game.
They're
I think if it comes down to it, like I'm going to use the Jaguars as an example. I'm not saying the Jaguars are going to be the Broncos or the Texans are going to be Broncos or whatever the case may be, but if they get matched up with one of these lower seeds in the playoffs, I think it's still a toss up. I'm not gonna, sell my soul and outright to pick the Broncos to win any single game. Like I think it's gonna be close. Anything can happen, and it's one of those years where like a lower seed could make a run and get to the Super Bowl.
maybe. Yeah, just the Broncos are this season in like every single sport does not make sense. None of them. The standings, you look at them. NBA, we talked about it all last night on Zero Gravity, our NBA show, and we're talking about the East, and I was like, the East, the Raptors are the 2 seed. What are we doing here?
That's insane.
I didn't think they'd be in the top 10. I didn't think they'd make the play-in preseason, and now I like them, but I didn't think they'd be the 2 seed. The Cavs are in the play-in right now. You look at that, and then you look at the NHL standings. You look at the Avalanche. They're on an absolute tear. They're on the best pace in NHL history for points, and the Stars are only 4 points behind them. And they haven't played well, and they have injuries everywhere. I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then you look at the NFL, it's the same thing. It's like the Chiefs kind of stink. The Rams just lost to the Panthers. The Eagles can't beat good teams. They're 8-4. The Bears are 9-3. They're the number 1 seed. The Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's just like, what are we doing? None of it makes sense. I don't understand what's going on. And I said it earlier a few weeks ago. I was like, I can't put my finger on this. Like usually by week 6, week 7, I kind of have a good grasp of what's going on in the NFL. I haven't had a clue all season long, which has made it more entertaining. But yeah, I think I'm standing on the Broncos or the Chiefs of last year. I'm not saying that they're going to make the Super Bowl and get clobbered or anything. I think they lose in their first or second game in the playoffs, but because of their offense, I think their defense is tremendous. But if you put that defense out there in cold January Denver weather, like at some point they're going to get tired and give up some points. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
You know,
I have no idea.
as the weeks have gone by, like like you said, like after week 7 or 8, we should kind of have a clear picture of what's going on. It's almost week 14. We have no fucking idea like what
It's
is going
insane.
on with any of these teams, any of these divisions.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And speaking of not knowing what the hell's going on, is the Rams lose to the Panthers, who Bryce Young threw like 3 touchdowns, I felt like on 4th or 3rd down each and every time for like 30 plus yards against this team. It was the strangest thing because we've hyped up the Rams. We like the Rams this year. We like their defense. We loved Matt Stafford. He had 3 turnovers yesterday, 2 interceptions and a fumble. A brutal game for Matt Stafford, who was on pace for a bajillion touchdowns and 2 interceptions throughout the entire season. He just doubled his interception total in one game. The Panthers' offense was just scoring and scoring from far. 31-28, Panthers win. I can't get Carolina Mike off of my TikTok feed. Have you seen this guy?
I have not, but I guess I got to check them out.
You gotta. It's this dude, and I think he's an older dude. You gotta be big Panthers fan. Loves Jake Delhomme. Very funny, just to have Jake Delhomme be your idol at the end of the day. Very funny. But he's getting invited to the Panthers tailgates. He's performing live there. He has one song, and it's banger. It just hits every time. And he's talking about having $150,000 to buy a football team. Wait, that's not enough to buy a football team. And then he just keeps going. And he's talking about the Panthers, rooting them on. And it's way better than the Colts guy. Like, this guy actually has some rhythm. He's got a little juice in his step. Like, it's a banger, Carolina Mike. So I think he saved their season. Maybe he just turned them around. He started popping up over the last few weeks, and I can't. It's every 3rd video on my TikTok feed when I pull up the TikTok, and I'm like, I know I'm going to get Carolina Mike, so bring it on. Bring me Carolina Mike with a C, no KE. It's MIC, like an actual microphone. So it's a banger. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out on TikTok.
Well, now that we've had this conversation, I feel like he's gonna pop up on my TikTok feed. So
Yeah,
I guess here we go.
that is the Chinese to FBI agents, whoever
Yeah.
is listening on your phone. Yeah, it's next time you pull up TikTok, Carolina Mike will show up like 3rd video probably. Love that guy though. He's electric. But yeah, the Panthers 31-28 against the Rams, who we hyped up a lot this past week before Thanksgiving started. They're 9-3, so they're still fine. The Panthers are sitting pretty now. They're still 2nd in the NFC South at 7-6 behind the Bucs, but great game. I mean, they had it was just like the first time Bryce Young's thrown for 200 yards in, I don't know, 5 weeks, but they won the game. So good for them.
Yeah, Bryce Young looks like yeah, I don't want Texans fans to kill me here, but Bryce Young looked pretty freaking good on a Sunday against the Rams.
Oh, did I have something in the chat that I was supposed to bring up on this episode about that?
I think you do, yeah.
It did.
I'm gonna
Okay.
give you the floor.
I only asked it because everyone in the chat's Texans fans. I'm a Dolphins fan, and it's just fun to poke fun here. Me and Des have been poking fun at CJ Stroud since he got drafted. It is what it is. We just keep doing it. Has Bryce Young surpassed CJ Stroud in the last 5 weeks?
I think
if you're doing
total career body of work, no, but
yeah.
I mean, Bryce Young's been pretty good. You can't argue with that. He has his team 7-6. They're winning games. I don't know how they're doing it. They just beat the best team in the NFC. And I mean, damn, if they make the playoffs, do you give him most improved player?
Who else would you give it to?
That's a great question.
You're not giving it to Drake May because he's a second-year player. Like, Bryce Young would be a decent candidate for it because it's been here. Is this his 4th season or his 3rd season?
It is his 3rd season.
3rd season. And he's been dealt a really bad hand. Had 3 coaches now at this point. The GM got fired. Like, just a shit situation. They didn't build anything around him for the first 2 years. I don't hate giving it to him. I don't know who else you give it to. Maybe Devon Achane, like first 1,000-yard season, but he was good last year and had 900 yards or whatever. So, yeah, I don't hate Bryce Young. But hell of a game from them. Like, every time I looked down, they were just throwing it on 3rd or 4th down and scoring a touchdown. It was ridiculous. Coker, McMillan, Chuba Hubbard all had long touchdowns, 33, 43, and 35, all for a touchdown. And it was just like Every time I looked down, I was like, "What are the Rams doing?" They couldn't figure it out on the late downs against the Panthers, which is strange. It's Carolina Mike magic, you know. That's what I'm saying. It's Carolina Mike.
Yeah, I mean something's got to give because the Rams defense is good. Like they're not a bad defense, but
No,
I thought Bryce Young was just throwing guys open, and it was one of those games where like he was just on fire and he was fighting guys. And I think the addition of McMillan, in the draft this past season, kind of really helped their offense. And then Rico Dowdle's been pretty good,
insane. Like he didn't have a
and
great game yesterday, but
he
I mean,
didn't. But he contributed. In the past this season, he did have that crazy game against the
no, he
Cowboys.
had like 3 straight 200-yard games. It's like Dolphins, Cowboys, and somebody else. I think he had 600 yards total plus, and then some rushing and receiving in those 3 games. Yeah, he's been a great addition to him. Like just getting cut by was it the Cowboys that had him last year? Like probably could have used him as a backup. Javonte Williams is the only one out there doing anything, and Miles Sanders was bad since week 1. So, yeah, I mean, big win for the Panthers. They're still it's them and the Bucks now. I'm not going to say the Falcons are in there. The Falcons are pretty much dead at this point, and the Saints are very much dead at this point. The Panthers and the Bucks could still win the division. I don't know if both of them can get into the playoffs. I just don't know if they're going to win enough games to both sneak in there. But very much in the division hunt now with Baker's Toradol left arm, with all the shots and drugs that they gave him to be able to play on Sunday. They got that win, but it's going to be a close division, Panthers and Bucks. I'm excited. It's a stupid division, and I love it every year that it comes down to the last game. Really fun. Last thing before we go, in the hunt. In the hunt graphics have never been more back, and both of our teams somehow have snuck into in the hunt. Mainly my team has snuck into in the hunt. They don't really belong yet because they're still under 500, but I'll take it. We're both in the hunt. So how do we feel about the Texans game? I know Off the Gridiron, our Texans podcast is going to probably record later today and have that episode up later. But how do you feel about your Texans this past week?
Man, I thought that was a good win. The OTG guys will probably talk about it more, but the referees were very controversial in this game. I'll just keep it short and sweet at that. But I thought the Texans, they had to have that game or else their season was over. They won that game. And now you're looking at a AFC South picture where the Texans are in it. The Jaguars are number 1 in the division now. And I think all 3 of these teams have a argument to make a deep playoff run. The Colts, right now they don't look like they can do that. But I think they're still a good team, even with the loss. The Jaguars have been up and down, up and down. They're pretty good. And then the Texans with that defense, I think if they can stay in any game and keep the other team under 20 points, there's a good chance they're going to win that game.
Yeah, we said it last week in our preview episode. It's like if you can hold Jonathan Taylor at bay, and this is before we knew Daniel Jones was playing on one leg as well. So we didn't have that report just yet, but we were like, if you can hold Jonathan Taylor at bay, like you got to make Danny Dimes beat you, and then he was kind of beating you there in the first half. I was like, what's going on? One leg Danny is just out here slinging it around 2 touchdowns early on, and I was like, this is weird. I don't know. But yeah, stuffing Jonathan Taylor. That's 2 weeks in a row now that Jonathan Taylor's kind of been held at bay. Only 85 yards on the ground, 36 in the air. So still over 100 yards total. But it's 2 weeks in a row for Jonathan Taylor. If he doesn't get to go run amok and do whatever he wants, they're probably not going to win the game. And especially with Daniel Jones on a fractured leg, like didn't know that was going to happen. He looked so slow in those videos before the game started, or during the week before Thanksgiving and everything. We're like, oh God, the Texans might snap it in half. They didn't. He stayed alive. So good for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, there was a video where the Texans put Will Anderson on the center and he just got demolished and
Yeah.
he couldn't run to the outside. He couldn't really plant his leg and make throws. I mean, he had a couple nice plays in the game, but
Mhm.
I mean that played a huge factor, and I think that really allowed them to hone in on Jonathan Taylor. And to this point forward, like if Daniel Jones' leg is not okay, Jonathan Taylor has to be Superman for them to even like be in each one of these games, where it's a tough schedule coming up.
Yeah. It was a good thing that they won all those games pretty early because they might not win a lot of games late and they can
Yeah.
still sneak in. They really only need 2 more wins to get into the playoffs. To win the division, you probably at least need 3, maybe 4, which I don't know if any of these teams might win 4 games, but I could be wrong. So big win for the Texans. OTG is going to come out probably later today. I think Noah's going to hop back on after his surgery. He's off the IR. We got Noah back off the IR, I think, that's what I just got. Breaking news. Noah Outlaw off the IR from appendicitis, maybe. So that'll be fun. Tune into Off the Gridiron, hit that subscribe button on Apollo HOU if you want to turn into that. And then my team is somehow in the hunt, but we don't need to spend literally any time talking about the Saints-Dolphins game because it's time to bench Tua. It's over. Devon Achane is the MVP of this team. The only reason that they keep winning games is because Devon Achane and the field goal kicker that we didn't have at the beginning of the season because we had to do a practice squad guy. We're just keeping alive. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick is electric. He might be back to being really good. And that might have been a great trade for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. When it looked on paper, I was like, maybe not. But Minkah looks good, and those two guys don't. So I'll take it. So shout out Minkah. He's the only one keeping me alive today.
You mentioned Jalen Ramsey. The Steelers, they're 6-6. They lose to the Bills. How are we feeling about this team missing the playoffs?
I mean, maybe, but like they could still just win the division because that division just stinks. At the end of the day, it's like if you look at the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens are 6-6 and they're winning the division right now. That's insane. The Steelers are 6-6, tied for the division, but sitting in second, probably head to head there. And then you got the Bengals at 4-8, like not technically dead yet. If the Bengals went out and they just go 9-8, they could still win the division somehow.
That is insane.
And they could probably lose one more game and still technically win the division, just depending on what happens with the Ravens and Steelers. So that the whole division is just a mess, and it's something I didn't see coming in. Like I think we both took the Ravens, and then I think I had the Bengals second because I hate Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and I'm not wrong necessarily. Like if Joe Burrow just plays, like I think I'm sitting pretty. But yeah, that division just stinks, and only one of those teams should and probably will make the playoffs, which will be fine. I'm okay with that. Having 2 teams from that division in the playoffs, not a fan. Only one, please. No more. It's like the NFC South. You can only let one in. No more. Only one at a time.
Yeah, man. The AFC, every single division is crazy. A whole bunch of craziness going on.
I mean, what the AFC East it's the Patriots at 10-2, but Buffalo's at 8-4. Dolphins technically still alive at 5-7. Don't believe they are. The AFC South is ridiculous. 8-4, 8-4, 7-5, and then 1-11, which is very funny. The only team to be eliminated in the AFC so far is the Titans. Or second team is the Raiders, sorry. And then AFC West is 10-2, 8-4, 6-6. Like all 3 of those teams are still alive. A lot of people are still alive. Like at this point, you'd think there'd be at least 3 or 4 teams from both AFC and NFC conferences that would be eliminated. And you have 3 in the NFC, which makes sense. You only have 2 in the AFC. So there's a lot of teams alive in the AFC. It's crazy.
Yes, it's going to be a fun 5 games remaining, man. I can't remember another year. I've said this a lot on this podcast. I can't remember another year where it's been this tight, this late, and there's so many possibilities.
All I know is the Dolphins are going to lose one more game, and that's it. And they're going to miss the playoffs by one game because they went.
Like I said, a lot of possibilities.
I know what my possibility and probability is. Like I know where I'm walking into, so I'm just prepared for it. If we make the playoffs, I'd be absolutely shocked. But that'll do it for Play Action Takes. I think that was a fun Thanksgiving weekend. A lot of great football on the NFL side, obviously college football as well. Check out the Get Back Coach for college football. Wrap up for rivalry week and the Lane Kiffin drama and all that kind of stuff. I know Jay and Jake are going to recap all of that, but we'll be back later this week with another episode of Play Action Takes. Paulie Meany's NFL podcast brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long. I get mine at Tom Thumb right across the street, but they got Sprouts. You can go to Total Wine. They got it everywhere. Go get some Zing Zang. Target, they also have it there. So shout out to Zing Zang. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. Playing your first $5, get $100 in bonus entries. So you're giving them $5, they'll give you $100 right back with Underdog using our promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already on Apollo HOU on YouTube or wherever you get Play Action Takes on podcast networks. We love you guys, and we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Play Action Takes, Paulie Media's NFL podcast.